Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 21st, 2022 at approximately 9:47 a.m. PST. Well, remember a couple of weeks ago, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, woke up with my pinky finger and my ring finger rather numb and disconnected almost, like feeling very disconnected. Well, it's happened again, only this time I'm pretty certain I know what the problem is. It seems I've got a pinched off nerve in the hand, in either the elbow or the wrist. Either way, it'll eventually sort itself out. But now that I know what the problem is, because of the fact that because of the way that I've learned to look at things and respond to things, I know for an absolute certainty I'll be able to correct the problem. It's just going to take a little time. But this said, now, am I going to go to a doctor? No, not unless it gets extremely serious, right? Because apparently there are a couple of ways of dealing with it. Now, I talk about the idea of, doctors are a necessary thing, and Lord knows when I snapped this same arm, Lord knows I went to the doctor to get it operated on, because I don't know about you, but I would rather go to a doctor that's been trained in it than just try and figure it out on myself when I had to bolt the thing back in place. Now, we have to realize, see, I came back to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to pass on a very simple message, that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. But that starts here. That starts in your own heart. I cannot change you. I cannot change anybody else. All I can do is offer the tools that I personally use to alter the energy in my world. Okay, in my own life. Now, I know these tools work because, well, frankly, I'm using them. Okay. But it is going to take everybody's effort and everybody's cooperation together to change the tide that this world is following. Now, I heard something the other day that just absolutely floored me. Where it comes to COVID, okay, the way that I've heard it, and this gives you an idea, bearing in mind that I don't pay attention to the news. I don't listen to it, read it, watch it, none of it. I get my information from other sources. But that said, there's no functional way to check it. But if I'm receiving this, Lord knows many of you are. Now, up here, at least in Canada where I am, more specifically in Kelowna where I am, in Kelowna, BC, the doctors have said, okay, if you come down with COVID, whether you're vaccinated or not, if you come down with COVID, you've got to self-isolate for 5 days. Now, this opens the door of, okay, if I've self-isolated for 5 days, then I can go back out and function, still following standard protocols after 5 days. But there's a backup to this. Apparently, with research that some people are passing on, it is still possible to pass that illness on, that infection on for 10 days. So why make the limitation only 5? Now, to me, this doesn't make sense unless you're striving to pass on the infection and leave it so it's open. Now, Mother Nature will undoubtedly manage to bypass all of mankind's efforts and get this all set together. But we have to remember, a virus is a living organism. Therefore, it's not going away anytime soon. It's kind of like when people talk about mankind coming to an end. It undoubtedly will, but it won't be this year. Okay, we have to realize that all of these bits and pieces, right down from the subatomic all the way up to the planetoids and larger, or the planets and larger. Planetoids are all, in all fairness, young planets, kind of like children are young adults. But the reality is, it's a very fine balance between life and death. And in all fairness, life and death are both part of the same balancing point. Don't ask me to explain exactly how it was all set up, but I can tell you it all has a very, very rational balance point to it. Now, I mean, I've heard the whole issue. I've heard a lot of the different theories and what have you. The one thing I always look at is I follow only three karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. If you desire to get something accomplished, you're the one that's going to have to do the work. You're the one that's going to have to put in the effort. My personal outlook on it is where it comes to personal success. First and foremost, you're the only one that can do it for you. Same as I'm the only one that can be successful for me. But the simple formula for success is success equals belief plus focused effort. Meaning, if you desire to succeed at something, you have to first and foremost believe it's possible. You don't have to know how to do it. You just have to believe it's possible. Then you have to make the focused effort towards changing everything that interferes with that success. Okay. As you do that, when you eliminate everything interfering with that success, you will become successful. It's just a natural side effect. So, from your standpoint, take the time to really look at the goal that you have, to really take a look at what you're aiming at doing, and make that a priority. Okay, now, I've got that one major message I'm here to pass on. But, where it comes to the writing, okay, right now I'm in the middle of writing book 12. But in order to write book 12, I've had to go back now and write a chapter in book 5. Okay, in order to make book 12 possible, because it's all solidly interlocked. Okay, and there's a lot of jumping back and forth that happens with my writing. One of the other little things that happen here, I've been getting the books done, the pictures done for the Races of the World. Okay, for the second printing. With Races of the World, I made a major mistake in my eyes. And I know that some people have done the same thing. They've made a major mistake and turned around and went, that's not what I wanted. So therefore, even if they authorize it, that's not what I want this company to do. Picture, if you will, if you're getting t-shirts done, or if you're getting something made specifically for you, if you're involved directly in the process and the person doing the work for you is checking the stages with you, when it is done, if you find out then that it's not quite what you were looking for, you're still the one that authorized it. And this goes under the category of do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. In my case, I was working with an artist and getting a picture designed for one of the races in Races of the World. Now, the funny part about it, from my eyes, or odd part, is I asked the individual for a face-to-face meeting because I noticed a major problem. Not until the end of it all, but I noticed a major problem. So I asked if I could have a face-to-face before we continue with it. Okay. The moment that the individual got on the line to me, the first thing I told him was, look, I says, number one, you've done the work, I've authorized it all, you're getting paid for it. But there is a major problem. Okay. So what I did was I went, okay, I've got this problem. I've got this complication. Yes, I authorized the work. Unfortunately, I missed it, you did the work, you're getting paid. This is the way it should be. So I've asked for one minor adjustment to the one that is already done, and then I'm getting him to do the other ones. Okay, I'm getting him to rebuild the thing from the ground up. The reason for this is I authorized it. Therefore, I took responsibility for it and said, okay, I made the mistake. I authorized it. You did what I authorized. You missed the same mistake. And rest assured, well, here's what it boiled down to more specifically. The Clay Clock, okay, which is one of the races. It is a mantis race that I've dealt with that many people have heard about. But the thing has 4 legs and 2 arms. The real massive oversight, okay, was it was originally built with 4 arms and 2 legs, which is fantastic if I was looking for a hybrid. But the actual race is the other way around. So we got all that worked out. But the important factor for me was I authorized it, I let it go all the way to the end, and then realized where the problem was. Now, the same thing applies with the energy in your life. If you've done something, and you'll find this happens more often than I care to count, you start getting things organized and you realize, oh, I've done all this work, but I don't like the outcome. I did that at one point where I cleared off my entire desk and then realized where I cleared it off to wasn't going to work. So just like going down the wrong road on a drive and hitting a dead end, you have to come back. You've got to reset everything. Take responsibility for the fact that you're the one that went down the wrong road. Turn around and come back and start over at that point. As close as you can. You can't undo the fact you made the miscalculation. But by taking a look at your own world and eliminating the negative things that are going on around you, okay, as in alter the energy around that, you will be able to turn things around and make your world run more effectively. To this end, I've had to reset a number of times, but on the plus side, things are moving. We have to look, you've got to look in the mirror. Yes, absolutely, people make mistakes. Humans have made a staggering number of them, but rest assured, other races make mistakes as well. In nature, there is no question. Nobody in nature of the actual of animals, knowing what people think are non-sentient. Okay, none of these animals fear death. They absolutely desire to live and they will fight tooth and nail to survive. But they don't ever sit around that I've ever run into and worry, am I going to die? Is the world going to end? It's simply one day at a time because that's the only day in existence that you can do anything. Is the day that right here, right now. You can postpone things as long as you desire. Lord knows I've done that. Got up this morning, decided I didn't like that. I was still tired, so I went back to bed. Can't change the fact I went back to bed. But I can certainly make up for it by getting very focused this morning, now that I'm up and about, and make the changes necessary. And it really boils down to simply looking in the mirror and going, is this working for me? Now, the doctors are telling, some of the doctors are telling one thing, some doctors are telling another. But the problem is, especially when we're looking at illness, when we're looking at damage to the cell system, okay, people are not on the same page. And this is where we're also having a problem with society. The churches are fighting amongst themselves. Well, the peoples of the church, of the different religions, are fighting amongst themselves over who's right. That amount of distracted discord is what's causing a lot of the complications. But we have to really realize you can't solely blame them for, because you got to realize people are taught by their forebears. Okay, you were taught by your parents, and your parents only did the best they could with what they had. Same as you're teaching your kids, the best you can with what you've got. But we've got to stop teaching people to fear the end of the world. The end of the world will come, as it was put to me, in about 5 billion years. Okay, that's so you can sit and worry when's the world going to end. Okay, but how about if we deal with the other side of this? What happens when you end? When your life comes to a close? Now, it's only speculation for most people. Okay, most people, in all fairness, when you die, that's the end of the story for how you understand it in the living world. In my case, I've done it multiple times. This is why I don't fear death. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not looking forward to it, although, I can't say I haven't thought about, well, what would happen if there was just a complete reset? When you die, okay, life and I'm not talking, technically it's my opinion, but it's also from my experience. When you die, that is not where it ends. Okay, you did now. Is there such a place as going to heaven, going to hell? Absolutely. There are many of you that believe that when you die, you end up stuck in the ground or in a coffin and you just decay. All of these places exist. Okay, every person, every alien, okay, every human, every non-human, every what you consider animal, every plant, everything living, when it passes, okay, even many of the elementals, the planets, all of these things are all living entities. They are all working together. They are all intertwined. Okay, people just don't realize how much. When you pass away, you will go to a place. Everybody I've talked to does go to a place, okay, where you do meet your loved ones when you pass away. Many of them are still there, depending on how long you've been around since they passed. Average turnaround time for humans is 70 years, 70. So if you had a great grandfather that passed away, he may not be there when you get there, but then that's because he may well have already reincarnated. If you lost somebody, like in my case, I lost my mother died just a couple of years ago. Okay, she is likely to still be there when I get around to getting over there. But all of these places are intertwined. Now, when I got over there, it was a phenomenal experience. A lot of fun in a lot of ways. I found out all these places do exist. What you don't realize is you're not as trapped as you might think. But karmic law has a real nasty habit of following you. Because karmic law does not affect the corporeal body, as in this physical form. Karmic law affects your soul, your life force. That's what follows you. So when you're putting energy out, to hurt people, or to control people, to stop them from discovering themselves, given that what they're doing is not hurting other people in the first place, when you do that, you're creating a complication for your life force, for your soul. Okay, and that's the thing the karmic law is attached to. So it may not affect you this lifetime. Many people have asked me, well, why is so and so that's being such a creep to people? Why is he getting away with it, getting things, why is he surviving? Why is he still prospering? Well, the reason is that karmic law does not always apply to this lifetime. Okay. In this particular lifetime, we have an interesting situation. This is a lifetime, it's a millennium jumper. Meaning that you were born in the 20th century, we're now in the 21st. Much more importantly, we're going from one millennium, as in from the 2000s and moving forward, heading towards the 3000s. Now, because of that, karmic law, this lifetime is a lifetime to tie off loose ends from the last 1,000 years, as well as set the stage for the next 1,000. Now, you don't have to believe this. Of course, once you die, you're going to figure it out anyway, but it will take you time. This lifetime, we have to focus in the here and now. Well, in all fairness, you have to do that every lifetime. Okay, the here and now, we are all right here, right now. And it is time to realize that working together, we can make this a better world for most people. But you have to take a look at what you're dealing with and your life and start correcting the energy that is not going where you desire it to go. This is a cooperative method. This is a cooperative energy, a cooperative existence, meaning we have to work together. One person, it's going to take forever and a day to move the mountain, especially if there's a whole pile of people on the other end, you know, rebuilding the same mountain. Kind of like trying to clean out a cesspool. The energy in today's society is very corrupted. It is very twisted. When I talk about corrupted, I don't mean breaking human laws. I mean it's not following a normal karmic path. People are so caught up in immediate gratification. They are so caught up in the concept of where are we heading? What can I get for me? What is the world going to give me? Well, it's got to be turned around. Okay, you only have X number of years. Now, humans used to live in excess of 200. Okay, a young adult would have been considered about 150 years old. Okay, nowadays, because of the amount of toxins in the air, because the amount of and I don't mean just the poisons that are being put out by things like automobiles. I mean the anger going towards each other. That kind of toxin is what is shortening the lifespan of humans. Okay. When we start reaching out, when we start being more relaxed, being more cooperative with each other, getting away from the idea of what we are afraid of, when you start focusing on the things that are positive, your energy levels will start to stabilize. You'll be able to actually function more effectively. And thereby, if you're hoping to live longer, thereby this will assist you in living longer. Okay, death itself, the belief that it is just another step is actually very real. Ultimately what it boils down to is this. Your body eventually does break down. It doesn't have to, but because of the way society is, in all likelihood, it will. Okay, my body doesn't work as well as I'd like, and I've got some serious work I have to start looking at. Okay, but we have to realize that when you minimize the negative, you work at eliminating the things you're not content with. Okay, all that you're left with is free-flowing energy that does not create a problem. But it's up to you to make this happen. The difficult part in all cases is that society has been taught, I desire instant gratification. It used to be, if you know the game of chess, that used to be one of the mainstays. You'd see the elder generation playing chess or sitting and playing checkers. Okay, and you would sit there, you'd play tabletop games like Diplomacy, which, for those of you that don't know, is kind of like Risk with a whole lot more realism to it. Okay, but therefore it took a lot longer. So when we're looking at this, okay, you have to realize people used to play these games that would last hours. Monopoly was another one that lasted hours. Now we have video games that if they last longer than 5 minutes, people complain. Okay, it's like, oh, I'm bored. I'm moving on to something else. Okay, same as the idea. If we go back to the original video games, you had 3 lives. Okay, you had 3 lives, and then you had to start the game over. With the new video games, you've got who knows how many lives, and you get to carry on playing. Well, life, you have 1 life. Okay, in real life, you have 1 life to do it right. You will make mistakes, you will have setbacks. Okay, but when this life ends, this lifetime is done. Doesn't mean you are, it means this lifetime is. William Shakespeare put it really nicely one day when he said, If the dead were to get up and walk, we would have one heck of a population problem. Okay, but for those few of us that have done it, those of us that have died, passed on, in my case, multiple times, we have the benefit of being able to look at it and go, this is what I did to lead to this lifetime. And I can carry on that path and create the same problems, which Lord knows where it came to finances, I did that lots. But you have one life to do this right. On the whole, okay, there are exceptions. You're looking at one of them. But the tools I offer are the ones that I personally use, the ones I personally use to this day, to change the direction the energy in my world is going. And because of that, I know these tools will work for you. But whatever spiritual guide, whatever path you're on, if the guide that you're following is not following their own guidelines, okay, like for instance, if you've got somebody that is telling you, guns are bad. Now, rest assured, in my opinion, guns have no problem. You put a gun on the table, it'll sit on the table, it won't do anything without some outside force. Cars are the same way. But if you've got somebody telling you guns are bad, and you find out that they have a closet full of guns, this may not be the best person to be following. This said, remember, though you may have problems with what the government is up to, you may have problems with what the medical people in your area are up to. Understand, the actual system is what you've got to work with. It has worked. The system has worked nicely. It's the people that get into control of it that can cause the problem. Okay, as the saying goes with computers, garbage in, garbage out. Well, if you take society and you keep pumping garbage, negative energy into society, you will get a society that is very negative, that is very twisted and out of shape. Hence what we have today. But this said, it can be corrected. But we've got to stop pouring the cesspool stuff into the cesspool while we pull the garbage out of it. Okay. And now, this is starting to happen slowly but surely. I encourage you to keep it on. Now, that said, I keep these videos to the half-hour mark. Okay, I am bringing this one to a close. So, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with everybody you run into. Share it with everything you run into. Because working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, yes, I am absolutely asking you to join me on this journey. Working together, we can make this happen. I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.